What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. Spent some time with some brothers from church, some time with my family, and everything was good except one thing. One thing happened, unfortunately. So over the weekend I found out that there was a flat tire on my car. Yep. As much as I try to be careful while I'm driving, unfortunately, I have been the victim of a flat tire. And turns out there was a nail. My car got caught with a nail attack. You know, we always get those uninvited, sneaky nail punctures. And unfortunately, with me, it happened to the sidewell. I'm not sure the exact term with terminology with the tires, but it's on the side, right? So normally, if you get a puncture, say if your car drives over a nail, right, it just punctures it directly in, right? But because mine's from a sidewell, it's impossible to repair. I had to get a brand new tire. But if it happened to be punctured directly, rolled on, then you could do something called the patch, is what the terminology is with the mechanics. It's where they, remove the nail, little surgery action, remove the nail, and they stick a tube of rubber inside, and they will basically fill that hole with a piece of rubber, and then basically cut off the excess, and you basically good to go if they repump your air. But like I said, because of that, my car needed to get brand new shoes. But thankfully, not all is lost. My dad was able to allocate some good tires for a good price, and all I had to do was to go to the mechanics and get it replaced today, which that was what I did today on Monday morning. I ended up going there quite early to see my mechanic to get it done, and while I was waiting for the shop to open, I ran into this person that a stranger I never met, and we just kind of clicked on conversation because we're the only two people that are like there early, and our conversations got pretty deep. We got to know each other pretty quickly, and he's a pretty cool dude, man. He works for the Metro. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, we got pretty deep, and I ended up showing him some of the. We ended up asking what we do, what each of us, what each party does for work, and I told him that right now, I make YouTube videos. I'm a content creator, and so I kind of showed him some of the stuff that I'm working on, and I posted, and he said that he finds it pretty useful content or interesting content, and it was really cool. I felt like I met a new friend, and I hope his situation changes for the better, because not gonna lie, his situation was a lot worse than mine. But never mind that. But today I actually got to explore a nice park that my brother. When I say my brother, is like my church bros. He recommended me a park in somewhere in the, I guess, the wealthier area of LA, and I was able to kind of go out there and explore the park. And I kid you not, guys, when I went in there, it was a very jaw-dropping beauty. I from the look of it from the outside, you would not expect the beauty that was inside the park. It was absolutely stunning, full of life, full of people, full of dogs, young, old, elderly, and just full of life. And I was kind of doing my my own little tour, because whenever I find a new place, I like to kind of explore every single crevice of the park, because I was like, oh, I could totally see this being like my new hangout spot, or whatnot, right? I personally really like parks. It's just a nice way to kind of get out of the house and just be around people and people watch. That's usually my thing. And so funny enough, I while I was doing my lap, I ran into somebody I matched on Hinge earlier in the year, except things didn't go anywhere with her, and so things just didn't happen, and we never continue maintaining or any of that stuff, and which is okay. But I think it took me 2 instances of walking by her in order for me to like just confirm that, oh, it is her. I'm if you guys wondering, did I go up and say hi? No, I did not go up to say hi. I just feel like I think some things are just kind of left unturned. It's already ended for a reason, and actually it never got started. So I was completely okay with just not saying hi. But I'm sure we both acknowledge each other. At least from my perspective, we made eye contact, and yeah, it was pretty clearly. And maybe she remembers me, maybe she doesn't, but it really doesn't matter. Okay. And so you're wondering, what is the topic of today's video? Well, funny enough, the person I met at the mechanic shop was giving me ideas for my video channel and YouTube channel, and he was like, you should do a video called How to Rizz. And I was like, at the time I was kind of jokingly, but because of that event happened at the park, guess what, guys? Today's video is gonna be how to Rizz girls. I know that's the newer generation does, right? They like to rub their hand like this and like, I don't know, make like a goofy, devious, strategic like smile thing. But no, that's not what I'm gonna tell you. All right, and if I did the thing where the people are doing nowadays in middle school and high school, where they like, hey, look that way, and then all of a sudden you grab their head and you turn it back to you, that would just earn me a slap in the face. Okay, I'm telling you now, guys, that would just earn me a slap in the face. Okay, but hey, I'm sure some people, in their 30s or 20s have used it and it might work, but I personally feel like, without even trying it, it might work in high school and middle school, but I'm pretty sure it'll earn me a slap in the face if I did that to a girl. And you're like, okay, so you're asking, Daniel, how do you Rizz girl? Well, it's good thing that you asked, says nobody. I honestly think the easiest way to Rizz girls is just to be yourself, man. Be your authentic self. And what I mean is that, like, when you're able to be 100% comfortable in your own skin, and you walk that walk and you show that that's who you are, you will naturally be able to Rizz girls. But it's a lot little. I could go a little deeper more than that, right? I'm sure some of you guys have heard the phrase charisma, right? There's a bunch of videos on YouTube talking about charisma. There's a bunch of people that studies about people that have charisma, like actors, right? And I'm here to tell you that everybody has charisma, but charisma looks differently on different people. And what I mean by that is, some people's charisma looks like this because they are this type of person, versus, like, for example, my charisma looks like this because I'm naturally this type of person. And what it really comes down to, back to the point of this video, is being authentic. When you're authentically yourself, when you're just being yourself, guys, and you can get, I don't want to say any girl, but it's like, when you're being authentic, truly who you are yourself, you're gonna attract people that are into that charisma, right? Whatever the aura you radiate, okay? I guess, quote unquote, aura, but really it's just you being yourself, really, right? You're not putting up a theatrical, you're not trying to be cool, you're literally being yourself. And when you're being yourself, you're naturally cool in your own way. And trust me, guys, I know I have nothing to show, but I've been through the I play these games before, okay? I've had girlfriends before, guys. So I know what I'm talking about. Despite not having one right now, guys, I'm just saying, right? If you want to rizz a girl, just be yourself. And I think where people mess up is that people treat talking to girls like it's its own thing, right? Um, rather than setting the point to just talk to them to get to know them, like we tend to place these thoughts about how we should come off, and I think that's when we mess up. When I say we, this time it's like guys, when we guys mess up because we overthink this thing, and then we end up not being ourselves in that conversation of getting to know the girl. And I think if you I think that's why in my 30s currently right now I am trying to date, right? Like I said, I am trying to date, but at the same time I am not in a rush to like get married or to have a girlfriend. I'm kind of seeing, what's out there. I'm trying to meet new people, but I'm not trying to like, you know get it in the bag, or get some. I think the old Daniel when he was in his 20s would be like, I'm gonna try to get some. No, now it's just like I'm trying to date for the long run, right? I'm being selective. I'm opening myself to, obviously you got to be in public in order to have a chance to meet girls and to talk to them, just to get to know people, right? And it starts that simple. Gets to know them, and I'm also gonna break down why the Rizz trick works. Okay, the reason why that middle school, high school Rizz, where you like look at the face, no, when you point to a direction, you make them look, and you turn that back, is because when they turn back at you, they don't expect it, and that reaction triggers an emotional response from them. And you could trigger an emotional response that way, or you can trigger an emotional response by being funny, aka being yourself. Okay, being yourself, right? Because look, I'll start saying jokes that I think is funny, and if she vibes with me making jokes that I think is funny and she laughs at that and that receives well, that's connection, right? That's safety, and obviously we go a little bit more than that. What kind of jokes to make, and I think I'm gonna go into this video a little deeper, right? I think the best jokes are jokes that have double meanings. If you don't know what that is, you look it up. Jokes that have double meanings and also breaking the fourth wall. Okay, and we have seen that sometimes in movies, right? Breaking the fourth wall, but you can also replicate that in jokes, and obviously while being yourself, right? The core is being yourself and taking things slowly and talking to get to know them, instead of talking to like, oh, like date or make her my girlfriend. You just talk to them to get to know them, to see if they're even compatible, to see if they're even the right fit. Like, don't go 0 to 100 super quick. Just go 0 to 2, to 3. Just walk that road one step at a time, and I guarantee you guys, okay, not guarantee, but I'm sure you'll meet some cool people, because when you're truly yourself, when you're authentically yourself, you're gonna attract people. Trust me, you're gonna attract people, and some people are gonna rock with you because you are being you, right? At the same time, there are gonna people that are not gonna vibe with you. I've had times where people thought my jokes were dumb, were corny, were borderline too much, and that's the vetting process. It's you being authentic, right? You pull people in, but at the same time you also push people away. People that are not meant for you, but you're pulling people in that are meant for you. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know it's not a usual video I talk about, but hey, any O-heads, sorry, I don't mean O-heads, any people who are in a committed relationship that can drop some wisdom and some knowledge, feel free to to comment what you thought of this video. Did I hit the nails? Did I hit the right points? Again, I'm no expert. I'm just giving my side of the opinion. But I know a lot of people, a lot of advice on the internet is very singular, right? What I mean by that is very methodical, right? It's very like, oh, do this to do that, do this to get that, right? Like, I think my type of advice is like, I'll tell you what the effect is and how I achieve it, and from there, you figure out your own way, because we're all different, right? Me being myself is vastly different than you being yourself, clearly. And so, I hope this helps. And as always, guys, what? As always, guys, see you all on the next video. Peace.